Hey guys, it's Purple Heart, and today we're doing something a little bit different because I know all you've been seeing on the channel recently is just lots of Pokemon Uranium. So I thought I'd shake it up a bit. So in the way of getting to know me a little bit better as a channel runner, so you can know me, like instead of me just being a gaming, I want to post a couple more out there videos. So I might, so over the next few weeks, along with the usual Pokemon Uranium and sometimes Stardew Valley, but Pokemon Uranium I want to get that out of the way ever since I activated something incorrectly. But I want to get that out of the way now. Over the next few weeks, so alongside that, I will be posting these random videos. So it could be movie reviews, like I'm about to do today, or it could be a top 10, or it could just be me chatting with you. But today, as I've just said, it is a movie review. So either it's going to be a positive movie review or a negative movie review. And these don't usually go on the public's opinion. These go on my personal opinion. But as this is the first episode, I thought we'd start off with a positive. So, for our first movie that we're reviewing, it is a classic musical, which I love. It's called... It didn't work. Chitty Bang Bang. A musical that came out, I think... I really should have like something to research. Let me just get a note. I'm just going to use my iPad quickly. This isn't advertising. Let me just grab... okay, so it came out in 1968, so quite old, very old in fact, and the runtime is 2 hours and 25 minutes, and it does have an interval in the middle, so you do have a chance to pause it and go watch something else. You also so in this shot, in the front, the driver of the car, the man, is Dick Van Dyke, a very popular actor back then. The woman sitting next to him is Sally Ann Howes, and not in this shot is Lionel Jeffries, who is Dick Van Dyke's father character in this movie, and Gert Frobe, who played the antagonist in this film of Baron Bombast, and Baron Bombast's girlfriend is Anna Quayle. Overall, I loved this movie growing up because everyone had the movie that their parents would sit with them and watch over and over and over and over and over and over again whenever their child requested it. And this was the movie that I grew up watching. So throughout the week, whilst my dad was at work, my mum was classic stay-at-home mum. She looked after us. But Saturday and Sunday morning, to give my mum a chance to lie in, my dad would take us and look after us for the morning. To like help my mum a little bit because he gets the weekends off. So usually on a Saturday morning, we'd probably be playing in the lounge or something. And some mornings when my dad was so tired, he'd just put on a movie. And this would usually be the movie, and rewatching it, I get why I loved it. Like as a child, classic children, I loved as a classic child boy, I loved cars, and I still like cars, but it wasn't as big as a passion as it was back then, and I think that's why it stood out. And watching it back today, I also get why I still like it. I am a very big fan of drama and the arts, which is why I do shows outside of school and outside of YouTube. I might post, if that's one thing about doing like real life sketch comedy with some of my friends. I may post that on YouTube. But this is a brilliant musical, containing such unforgettable songs as you might have heard of this one, Chitty Bang Bang, the theme tune. It's quite a good song. I didn't particularly like that song. contained Posh, or Port Out Starboard Home, sung by Lionel Jeffries, the grandfather. Very funny song. Uchi Coochie Face, sung by Gert Frobe and Anna Quayle. In that song, it's very funny. I'm referring to them as their actor names, not their film names. Gert, throughout the song, is trying to kill Anna by dropping, hitting a suit of armor and make it drop its axe. He's he has a secret lever in her room which can make a pit. He drops her down that and she doesn't die. She comes back into the room a few minutes later. It's whilst he's laughing, he continues the song, and then she walks back in to do her bit, as it's a duet. And overall, I pretty much like the film. There are a couple more songs. Dole on a Music Box, I liked that. Toot Sweet, that's a very nice song. What was the last song? What was the last song I really liked? There's one more. It was Pour Out Starboard Home. Oh, Up From the Ashes. That would probably be my favourite song. It would either be Posh or Up From the Ashes. Up From the Ashes was another funny song. It contained a bunch of factoids about the time. So for example, some of the lines in the song are, for example, Graham took years to see the light, referring to Graham Bell, the inventor, who invented the light bulb. And it's a really funny song. Again, it's a really good movie. So now we're going to get into the bit of the juicy film. If you haven't seen the film, watch it. I can't really say anything else. It was a really good film. And it still is a good film now, just watching it. The comedy there is still funny today. And you can tell it's an English movie because they're driving on the correct side of the road. Which, for a matter of fact, is the left. Because everyone else seems to get it wrong. Most other countries. I know France get it wrong. As you can tell in the shot, Dick Van Dyke is driving on the correct side. So, spoiler warning now, if you haven't watched it, go and watch it, or if you really don't care, keep watching. I'd love you just to keep watching. So, the cause of the film, so if you haven't seen the movie and you don't really want to spend 2 hours, 25 minutes to spend time watching it, but if you do have that time, watch it, it's a good movie. But if you don't want to watch it, here's a brief summary. So I'll now be referring to them as their character names from henceforth. So the man driving is Caractacus Potts. The woman in the seat next to him, posh name alert. Yes, I've been watching Miranda. Posh name alert. Truly scrumptious. Yeah, her dad is a sweet manufacturer. Hence the song Toot Sweet. And the two children are Caractacus Potts' children, Jeremy and Jemima. The father he's usually just referred to as Grandad in the movie. What is his name? I don't remember. He's either referred to as Grandad by the children or Dad by Caractacus. And then Baron Bombast and his wife, I think her name was Greta in the movie. But those are really the characters you need to understand. So Caractacus is an inventor, and he's inventing all these different things. But because he's spending so much time inventing, he doesn't pay enough attention to his children. And because he doesn't spend enough time with his children, he doesn't realise they're not going to school, and he doesn't really pay attention to them enough. So one day, Jeremy and Jemima are playing around this old kind of scrapyard sort of place. And a little Easter egg for the movie. The owner of the scrapyard from that plays Q in the Bond movies around that time. But what's even more funny is these Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and James Bond are related, not just because of that crossover of Q being the scrapyard owner. They're actually written by the same author. This movie is technical name, and James Bond's technical name is Ian Fleming's James Bond, and you guessed it, Ian Fleming's Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. So yeah, no, the more you know. So running home because a man wants to scrap their car they were playing with. They're running down the road to go home, but running around the corner, Truly almost runs them over, just missing, but manages to swerve in the pond, and that's a running gag throughout the film. And I've seen many feminists, feminist women, standing up and saying, "Oh, that's just a judgment on women drivers." It's not. The misconception wasn't around back then. It wasn't around in. I don't think they were really paying attention to the fact that they were getting her to drive into a pond. It's kind of a running gag because pretty much whenever she's coming around that bend, she'll end up in the water. And I don't think they really paid attention to women drivers back in 1968. So, feminists, shut up. So she escorts them home, where she sees Cracticus make an invention. So over the next few days in the movie, you see a couple of his inventions, and some of the inventions we know today, such as the vacuum. He has potential for that, and he also has a sweet making machine. His children plead for him to buy the car so it isn't scrapped, and he considers it and thinks it might be a good investment. Even though it's 30 shillings, which was a lot back then, and a lot since the fact that they were usually using the shillings for their inventions, he just felt like he wanted to give something back to the children, because he's usually using like all their money for inventing, and even though it is helpful, no one really wants to buy it. So he takes his sweets, which aren't hugely functional, to the sweet factory, which again he meets Miss Truly Scrumptious, whom he had an argument with the day before about his children and how they're raised. And then they go into the song, Truly's Too Sweet. So, but they don't get the money. It's not all happy. Turns out dogs seem to like them better than humans did. So, the next night, Cracticus tries again with another of his inventions, his portable hair cutter. A man's told by his wife to get one, he gets one, and it turns out terrible. He goes pretty much bald and looks like a monk, but he's got like a single strap, like a single chunk in the middle, and he looks like that. So he demands his money back, and blah blah blah. Long story short, a lot of things happen. I won't spoil it all for you. Cracticus gets the money he requires. Getting the money he requires, he buys the car off the scrapyard owner, Q, which we'll be referring to him because I don't think they give him a name again. And he spends the next few days working on it, and a few days later, out rolls Chitty Chitty Bang Bang out of the scraps of the old car. They take it for a drive. Truly crashes into the pond again, so Cracticus, being the gentleman that he is presented as, says, "Oh, why don't you spend the day with us? The children seem to like you." So they spend a day at the beach, and they ask, and they spend the day, and whilst they're sitting in the car for a couple more minutes, the children ask their dad to tell a story, and pretty much the whole movie rolls into action. Pretty much the whole movie is a lie. Well, it's not a lie, it's a story being told by Cracticus. So they see a boat in the distance, and Cracticus tells the children in his story that that's Baron Bombast's boat, or Gert Frobe. I don't know why I don't think that's how you pronounce it. Oh, I'm going to keep going Gert Frobe. He tells them it's their boat, and they have a quick sea chase, because Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, being the magical car that is, storytelling, can float. It turns into like an inflatable... It has an inflatable raft come out from underneath it, and they manage to evade and get away from Baron Bombast. We're not even that far in. We're about half an hour in to the movie. Yeah, it's a long movie. Very good, but long. So if you have a long attention span like I do... No, I have a short attention span. You see me in my playthroughs. I get very distracted. So Baron Bombast sends his two best spies, X and Y. Really? We're having a lot of leaded people. We've already got Q from James Bond in this film. Now we've got X and Y. Who's next? A and C. Where's D as well? ACDC. Wait. So he sent his two best spies, X and Y, to go and try and steal the car, because apparently it's very valuable and Baron Bombast already knows about it. So they spend a lot of attempts also intervening with Truly Scrumptious's father. Lots of shenanigans go down. Then having intervened, they use the car to go to Cractus's home, and by mistake steal Cractus's dad, or the grandfather, stealing him in his shed. Cue song Posh as they sail away. The family and Truly then try to chase him down and accidentally go over a cliff. You might think that's the end of the story, but it's not. Being the magical car that it is, it does something magical again, which you can see in the photo. It flies! And once again, no, it doesn't use the propellers. This car is really weird. I swear to God. It doesn't use the propellers, it glides. So off they go, chasing after Grandad, and arrive in Bulgaria. No, not Bulgaria. Bulgaria. It's a made-up country that you made up, I think. I don't know. I think it's Bulgaria. No, there's nothing on this wiki page that I found quickly. It's not really a wiki page. It's like I clicked on this link and it's just giving me the basic information, which is very helpful. And it's got a couple of reviews on it, but they're all just kind of taking the piss out of it. I was like, thanks. So, having arrived in it, they notice there are no children around in the town. Turns out, because Baron Bombast hates children, he demanded all of them be kidnapped and locked away. We don't know what happens to the children that were caught, but the children that weren't caught were hidden. They're in this cave underneath the castle, but you don't discover that yet in the movie. The toy maker of the town decides to help the family and help hide them from the child catcher, who was a very good actor, I must add that. They actually hired a ballerina. I know that sounds like it's a girl. It was a man ballerina, which helped set in the fear for a child, because he walked very strangely in the movie, and that's because he was meant to be strange. Like, they gave him a long nose, a wart, and they just made him a very creepy person. And that's something they did well on. I was very scared of that character growing up. So if you're scared of that character, and they intended for it to be scary, they did well. So, moving on from that point, the toy maker and Cractus go and try and get into the castle, and they leave Truly and the kids in the toy shop. The toy maker managed to lure them out with promises of sweets and candies, and being the poor children that they are, hoped to get as much as they could. So they snuck out, because Truly was already out looking for food. And they're taken back to the castle. And they're locked up. And they're not killed, proving that Baron Bombast isn't that evil, he just locks them up. So they had to develop a new plan. They decide to sneak into the castle. And they tell all the children that are hiding underneath the castle what the plan is. They sneak in during Baron Bombast's birthday as two toys. Truly as a doll on a music box. It was a very big music box. And Cractus as a life-size puppet. The whole revolution takes place. Loads of stuff goes down. Children are saved. Grandpa manages to escape. They don't really touch on it. He just suddenly walks in. He's like, "Guys, I'm over here. Thank you." And there was one thing I found really weird about this point. In a shot before this scene, you see Chitty Chitty Bang Bang being heavily guarded. He's got about 6 guards surrounding him. I think it's a him. They refer to it as a him in the movie, I think, or a her. I don't remember. I'll refer to it as an it. It had 6 men surrounding it. However, in the next scene, Chitty just straight up drives into the room. Like, we know the car's alive. Like, it manages to do things without instructions. Like, for example, in the flying scene, Cractus says he doesn't know where he's going, but Chitty clearly seems to. So Chitty does know things. But the fact is, that he just straight up just drives into the room. Like, he had 6 men guarding him, and you think they'd stay with him because that would be like the Baron's biggest concern. But he just drives off. Do you think he's... So imagine like the flight home. It's like, oh yes, I fooled the guards. I like rolled a coin to the other side of the garden. They all ran away to see what it was, and I snuck away, made my escape. I mean, logically thinking, they probably would have gone in to help the Baron fight because it was a complete revolution. But no, you don't really see the guards much, and you never have proof that those 6 guards went in, because there are a lot of guards in this movie. But anyway, they escape, and the children make a joke at the end of the story, saying that Cracticus and Trudy got married. Trudy doesn't seem insulted by it, but Cracticus thinks that she is. So apologises, and they get into another argument because they both live different lifestyles. And so they part their separate ways once more. When Cracticus and the children return home, they find the grandfather and Truly's dad in their living room. I'm not going to tell you what they were doing, they were messing around. And he offers him a partnership, the sweets, for a partnership because they were brilliant dog treats. They fed them to the dogs to get them to leave the factory because they'd broken in during Toot Sweets. So, having learned that now he's going to live the good life, there wasn't really anything separating him and Truly. So they drive back. So he drives back, and once again, Truly drives into the pond, as she always does. He goes in to help her once more out of the pond because she doesn't want to get her dress wet, and it's implied they live happily ever after. And it's also implied that what may be told in this story might be true, because once they're driving home, the car takes off. It doesn't have wings extend out of it. It just seemingly takes off. And that is the story of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Overall, I loved this movie, and I hope you guys did too. And we are sticking to our 20-minute mark. Yeah. I just described your movie. Go watch it. It's better than what I explained. I missed out loads of funny bits and loads of bits of humour. There's just so much humour in this film. Is there something I can tell you? One of the jokes I can tell you off by heart. I can't think of any of the jokes right now. But yeah, it's a brilliant film. If you haven't seen it, see it. I'd love you to go and watch it. It would make me very happy to think, oh, my viewers are listening to me and going to see some more movies. Going to watch some more movies. Even if you don't have the DVD, use the internet. Seriously, there are so many illegal copies of every single movie. You can get it. Watch it. It's amazing. It's funny. It's a musical. If you don't like musicals, it isn't even that musical heavy. Like, if you're comparing it to Hamilton, it's just a normal movie in comparison. It's got, I think, 13 songs spread over about 2 hours, and some of them aren't even that long. And it's just very funny. Like, watching all these things that most of the characters have to do. But on that note, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Purple Heart. If you would like to see more of these, tell me in the comments below. Would you like to see more movie reviews, or would this like to be the first and only one? I probably will continue even if you tell me to not. So, say yes. You'll be happy if you said yes. If you didn't say yes, you're fucked. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. This has been Purple Heart. Show me your hearts by commenting, liking, and subscribing. I mean, seriously, comment this time. I want to hear what you think.